Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Thank you guys for joining us. We are back for episode 8 of Delete the Vodcast, and today is a very special day because we have our very first guest live on the air. We are here with Mr. Hidden Shadows, my good friend and amateur R6 player going for pro. He's going to join us for some Shooting the Breeze conversation. We're going to talk about everything that's going on in the world right now, everything that's going on in our lives, stuff that's going on with Twitch, and just basically just fill in the voids. So you guys in chat, thank you for joining us, and you guys can contribute where you want to. We're going to talk about a lot of things, all of that starting right now. And now we do our dance.
The dance part.
Yeah, the dance. Hey, yo,
Hi,
yo, go. Okay. There you go. See, he's into it. All right. So, if you guys are here, we are live again for our third episode in a row. I want to thank you guys sincerely from the bottom of all of our hearts for being here. And obviously, Alex, aka Hidden Shadows, thank you for joining us last minute. I appreciate your presence, man. Yeah, so tell us what's going on with you. Alex, for those of you guys that don't know, is an amateur R6 player. He's going for pro. He plays for a esports organization known as Noble. If you guys don't know who they are, I'll put the information in the description of the YouTube video below. He's been a good friend of mine for years. And yeah, Alex, tell us what's going on with you, man. What's going on in your life right now?
Not too much. Hanging out. Practicing 7 days a week right now. Looking forward to the new CCS season for R6. The upcoming season 11. The new drop at year 5 season 1 came out for Siege, so lots of grinding that out. Other than that, streams, homework.
Streams and homework. You got
keeping up with news.
Your beautiful girlfriend Hannah, she's doing good.
Yep.
Congratulations to you,
amazing.
and you guys have your 1 year anniversary coming up. I know that means a lot to you, man.
Very close now.
That's very good for you, man. That's awesome. What are your thoughts on the new R6 stuff that's going on? What's going on with R6? Why don't you fill us in? Anything new? Isn't there a new patch coming, or wasn't there just a new patch?
Yep, the new season dropped on Tuesday, so 2 new operators, new map rework.
Okay.
A handful of things. Obviously, with any patch drop, there's a lot of issues right now, so we're kind of waiting for that to fill out and work itself out, and Ubisoft kind of figure out what they're doing.
Okay.
Cat's scratching the desk.
So you guys are gonna be implementing new strategies and new defense teamwork against these new operators and stuff. That's super cool, man. Like, obviously, I play Siege with you, you know that, but I don't get into the technical shit. Shit triggers me. I'm DudeiRage. You already know that. I get off. It is what it is. But that's cool, man. That's cool. Yeah, dude. So chat, if you guys have anything to contribute here to the conversation, this is an open door. Everybody can talk about anything that they want here. We're going to talk about the coronavirus at some point because I feel like we have to. I mean, it's just, we're not going to make the entire podcast over it. But I pulled up all the statistics over the coronavirus, so I know what I'm saying. This is all from the CDC, straight from it. From every country, all the stats, everything. I got it pulled up. We'll look at that at some point. CW Hootie, good morning. Good to see you, dude. It's been a while. Boys, what's on your minds, man? You guys had a lot to say this morning. We were talking about Call of Duty. The new Warzone has dropped. People are loving it. It's free. You don't have to own the game, which is super cool. I like that, but it's still just another BR in my eyes.
Right, so I was with you on that. Like, they released the trailer, and I was like, okay, yes, Call of Duty can make good trailers. That doesn't mean a good game because, you know, Call of Duty have that trailer money. Anyway,
That's what they've done for years.
Yeah, exactly. They've always been like, oh, no. And then there was like, oh, Ghost is back, by the way. So everyone's freaking out. Anyway, so I was like, oh, it's probably just another BR. And I'm not really a big fan of Battle Royale games. I never really have been because I don't know. I just don't. I like to be able to be in a game and be like, I'm just going to play the game, not like I have a window of opportunity. And if I don't absolutely dominate everyone, then, you know. Anyway, game download is 180 gigs. So that's always a good start because you can't choose to download just the BR. If you own the game, you've got to download everything. So that's 180 gigs. Wow. So that's, you know, my hard drive is, you know, hating me right now.
I thought 50 gigs was a lot.
No, 180.
Even the new Siege patch is it was 100.7 gigs, something like that. That included a complete re-download and repackaging of the whole game. including the new Vulkan API, everything that came with that. So yeah, like everything coming out right now is 100 plus gigs.
Massive. It's huge.
Yeah,
Like, I remember when games were like 5 gigs.
Wasn't the new Call of Duty 180 gigs to download it, and then you had to do like another 100 gigs like once you downloaded it, or like unpack the game files once you did it?
When it came out, it was like, because I pre-ordered it because it was the only Call of Duty. I was like, oh, I'll give this a go. Looks like fun. Anyway, pre-ordered it, and it was like, I think at the time 145. I think on release it was around the 150 mark, and then there was loads of issues, and then there was a 20 gig update, and then a couple of days later there was another 20 gig update and another 20 gig update and then a 40 gig update.
I just remember seeing a tweet about it. Somebody was complaining like I had to download 100 gigs and then I had to unpack 180 gigs of game files or vice versa, whatever it was. I don't know.
Because there was a lot of issues to begin with, but it took, I mean, there was a lot of massive updates. But I mean, I kind of stopped playing it for a little while, and I came back to this BR being like, oh, you know, we'll just see what it's like, and I'm actually really enjoying it. Like, okay. I don't feel like it plays like like all downloads and all that stuff aside, like core gameplay. If this wasn't a Call of Duty game, it would still be top of Twitch right now for sure. Just
does
purely
it play like Call of Duty, or does it play like a BR, or does it play like a wonderful combination of both?
It's a combination of the two, because in a BR, I've always found, we'll use PUBG as an example, I've always found PUBG pretty clunky in regards to its mechanics. So drop in,
rough.
And it's all a little bit, it feels like you're running through Play-Doh all the time. And then even just the menu system, you're like all over the place trying to swap attachments here and everywhere.
Console-based, I feel.
Yeah. Whereas with the new COD, there isn't a menu system. There just isn't one. Everything is on your HUD, like, you pick basically, instead of attachments putting on guns, it's different tiers of guns. So it works as like most MMORPG kind of grading of stuff. So you got like green, blue, purple, orange, you know, red, whatever. And the higher tiers you get, the more attachments you get, and then the more viable that gun is. So that's very much usual. Whereas there's a couple of mechanics now which completely change the way that BR plays. So for example, you've got loadout drops. So instead of having like a loot crate that randomly spawns, instead, you have to basically get money within the game that you pick up off dead people or just world drops. And I think it's like $6,000, and you drop in like a loadout drop, and then you pick any of your custom loadouts that you have for multiplayer, basically. So you can consistently go into games using the same loadout. And that's always something that I always hated, is like in games, I find the guns I like and I get proficient with them. It was the same with Siege. When I used to play Siege, I used to play Frost because I loved how gun mechanics worked, and it just felt very my play style. So having the consistent loadouts means you pick up the game so much quicker. Getting into games super quick. It runs really good, all things considered. Like I mean, I stream at like 900p and play on high everything and get 144 constant on a 2070. So that's nice.
It's gonna have to be something that I try. I think
you definitely should.
I'll probably try it at some point. I'm not gonna main it. I'm not gonna play the fuck out of it. I think we're playing that today with the boys at some point, actually later on when I stream instead of Tarkov today. Tarkov had a big patch.
It did, yeah, it did.
Tarkov had a really big patch, and they did some things with the weight system. I'm not a fan. I wasn't a fan.
New armor, I'm a fan of.
I've not tried any of the new stuff. I did find some new items yesterday. I played a little bit yesterday. It was absolutely frustrating. And one thing that I can't get away from is the fucking spawns on the damn game. They'll
never fix it. It's so rough, especially in a map that's like compacted in size.
It's terrible.
It's like Factory. You just wait for people.
Exactly. Well, Factory, you know what, dude? Factory probably has the most sensible spawns out of all the maps, to be honest with you.
You have 800 square feet of map space.
Yeah, so like everybody spawns in a corner, and then we just go at it. Whereas like, you know, customs, you spawn across from each other. Interchange, you spawn like right next to each other on every asset of the fucking highway. Happened to us twice yesterday. We spawned in and died within 30 seconds of that raid because people just rushed our spawn and killed us. It's just, it's stupid. Really dumb.
It's been a consistent problem since release.
I know.
Yeah, no. Like even since I've been playing, which isn't long, it's probably about a month and a half, I think, since I picked the game up. I play Reserve 9 times out of 10. That's like my go-to map. So my map knowledge on that map specifically is a lot bigger than the rest. So there's a couple of spawns that I'm really familiar with, and I have like routing as to where to go from each spawn, etc., etc. And you kind of pick up where other people spawn. And the way reserve works is it's kind of in sections. Like a lot of the maps have sections within them, but reserve is like one big square from like the back corner up towards the dome, and then the fields, and then like a mid section. So it's pretty wide 3-lane system, but there's clear line of sight from certain spawns to other spawns of people. So I went in with a 5-7 yesterday, just chilling, watching some Twitch, just casual raid. Went in, one tapped a fully geared guy because I knew where he spawned, and I knew where to go. So things like that, yes, it does reward you for having the knowledge of the game. But when I was new to the game, the amount of times I'd spawn in and get killed just because someone knew better, I don't feel like that translates that well to people who don't understand how Tarkov works.
No, Tarkov, it's
a problem.
It's still beta, and at the end of the day, like, in the argument that I'm seeing a lot on Twitter, I've been looking at this ever since they did this, was we are beta testers, and that's what we are. And they've already implemented changes to the weight systems and some other things to Tarkov.
It didn't take long.
And they're still doing it. They did stuff like 45 minutes ago. What'd you say? It's been out since 2017.
Beta's 2 years now.
2017, 3 years.
And I know there's an ongoing conversation of the a history repeat of the Daisy situation.
They did say that they didn't want to do that. However, now they just did this weight system, and it feels the same way. This is what happened with DayZ when it first came out with the fucking stamina and like running real slow. Except they never changed it. It's fucking still terrible. It's still terrible. There, yeah. It's garbage.
Well, this is the parallel. That
what's up, John? Good morning, man.
Is the way Tarkov played pre this patch was good. It played well. There was some issues, but they weren't for the most part gameplay issues.
I think it was because you were used to it.
Well, no, like even then, like even when I wasn't used to the game, when I was new to the game, nothing really stood out to me. Like the only thing that I had a problem with was the stamina bar being linked to your aiming as well. So now, I don't know if you're familiar, Justin, but they've split stamina to legs and arms. So you can sprint and your gun will still be steady, like, because when you ADS, you use stamina, basically.
Yeah.
But before, that was also tied to your movement stamina, so you couldn't run, come across players, and then aim.
Was it like DayZ, where if you were running and you bring up your gun, you were just kind of like...
Yeah, very similar to that. So I like the addition of their new stamina bar. I think that was a good move on them, because it adds another thing. Although, a couple of things that I don't like this patch is, like you say, the movement thing. If you have any weight on you at all, then like your turn speed completely changed. It felt like you were like really heavy, like you had to drag your mouse to actually move. So it just slowed it down a lot. And the thing I always liked about Tarkov is you could take on whatever playstyle you liked, depending on the gear you went in with. So if you're going long range, you don't need to be agile, and that's fine. But when you were on the floor, you wanted to be moving around, spinning around, like, outplaying people. It felt like more of a hindrance to the gameplay than an addition. That was my take on it. But they have changed some stuff.
They're changing stuff, and that's I think that's good. They're listening to the community, which is not something that other dev teams have done in the past. We all know that. Fortnite. I'm mainly talking about DayZ. They have a very terrible PR history. As much as I love them, and I'll always love that game, they've got a terrible PR history. And they might listen to their community, but it takes them 6 months to a year to do anything about it or change any sort of thing slightly. So. Good on the EFT dev team for changing things up and doing it almost immediately. That's fantastic.
I just don't want it. I don't want it to get to the point where they just keep adding content to compensate for mistakes that have been made.
I don't think the dev team will do that. Not the EFT.
That was my fear for this patch. Was like I looked into the patch notes. I was discussing it on stream, and it was like added this, and it was so we fixed interchange.
PUBG, dude, don't get me started on PUBG.
Well, PUBG, I think, started
adding way too much.
Well, when they redid the bullet drop after countless hours of getting it right the first time, fixing it really ruined gameplay. 100 meters in that game was no longer 100 meters. It was short 25, short 30. You were shooting at people that you're so used to at a certain distance.
Yeah.
And now you're just not hitting anywhere near them.
That was that was at the same time they had the influx of hackers. I mean, it was...
Well, hackers were in alpha, in beta.
But it was like when they did those changes, then you had multiple hackers every game, every other game. You couldn't play a game of PUBG without dying to a hacker and then playing one legit game, then dying to a hacker again, and that's what slowly killed that game. At least in my opinion.
Right.
The game's not dead, but it's not what it was.
It's not thriving.
No, it's not like what it used to be.
Well, the dev team in this part is somewhat given up. I mean, they removed grenades, they removed the rainy weather in PUBG, but it's not enough to bring old players back to the game.
No.
There's not enough consistent gameplay changes to warrant getting back on the 80 gig install, the
I feel like
relearning.
we've seen it
Katie,
so
Sony,
many
good morning,
times.
guys. And you know what? And to this point too, like let's kind of move away from that. But let's say I think that people have become so accustomed to BRs that most people are getting stuck in a BR for maybe a month or two, and then they move on to the next one. They're not really consistently playing it. And like now,
part of the trend.
Fortnite is like still super like very much popular. But to me, like, when I used to watch Fortnite, I used to get super excited. Like, I used to love watching Shane play Fortnite for hours. Now, I can't stand to see it. It just bores the fuck out of me. It's not exciting anymore.
Dying off.
It's dying off, and rightfully so, I think. It's not.
We'll just be interested to see what takes its place.
Yeah.
I don't know if COD's going to be
I
it.
feel in the beginning of Fortnite, the devs were really on top of it. It was like every 2 weeks or whatever, they'd have a new patch of like things that they fixed, things that they added, and it was like rightfully so, things that the community wanted.
They did it like perfect. Epic Games did. Like, they built onto their hype, and every time it was super hype, they'd make it even more hype, and they did that for years successfully. Like, I don't know how long it's been. Like 4 years?
It's
Since
2
Fortnite?
years of Fortnite now.
2 years, Fortnite? God
2 years
damn,
of
it
Fortnite.
feels
Well,
like
if
it's
you-
more
if you
long than
think-
that.
Well,
Think about
Fortnite's
the
been
life
out for
cycle of the
forever,
game.
but the BR portion is, I think, 2 years now.
Yeah, because it wasn't originally a BR. It was a different game with a BR attached to it as like an additional thing.
No, it's just
But it's the same
that-
thing H1Z1 was. It
yeah,
had a survival
So
mode and
just
then a
survive
BR.
and then BR.
That's a dead game that tried to make a comeback. That game is never coming back.
H1Z1 was fantastic. I still believe that they could pull it back from the grave if they really tried, but
They did try. They actually went back to some of their old staff and their old ways. They went back to the exact old H1Z1 that we knew and loved, and it still didn't come back. I mean, they even paid big
it's just so hard to
streamers.
revive a game.
You can't. Like, if the calling couldn't do it, H1Z1 can do it, and they didn't do it. They couldn't do it.
Yeah, especially with the BR series, because it really did, like, in the last, say, 2-3 years, it really did. Because the transition was like, oh, it's like DayZ, but it's like cycle based. There's no hours of looting. It's just in, gunfights out. Was basically the premise of BRs. So H1Z1 did it, and it had its issues, and then it kind of cycled through, and then we got to Fortnite, and like first season of Fortnite, I used to quite enjoy it when it was gunfights. And when it was like, oh, I'm going to build myself a little box. But now, you get into a gunfight, someone builds a shopping complex in 3 seconds, and it's like, well,
See,
I'm not going to put hours into that for that. Like, I'm not going to try and outgun someone.
That's the
because, like,
skill. That's the
match
skill of
the
Fortnite.
skill,
man.
the skill
is the building.
is very high.
It's
But
very
that's-
high.
That's what I enjoyed watching it. because
I
it was,
enjoyed
like,
watching Shane
seeing
play
Shane
it because
play-
doing 90s. Yeah, he's got a fucking.
I couldn't do
you know what I'm saying? Like, he puts his person in a box, throws a nade in, fucking reloads a shotgun, drinks his fucking, fucking boom. Like, dude, that shit was addicting as hell to watch in the beginning, and I think it still has some. It's obviously
exciting.
It still has an audience because it's got like 100K viewers on Twitch. I don't know what it is right now, but it's always around 100K.
Somewhere around there.
Yeah, easily. It's
being
still
consistent. I think that's the thing to keep in mind is obviously games have life cycles, whereas Fortnite has stayed consistent the top for a long time. Like even with Ninja moving platforms and everything, and he was a big part of that audience, like drawing that in. It's
huge.
still stayed consistent. It has been at the top for a very long time, and it might not be tops. Yeah.
Since you mentioned that, what do we think? Did you guys all see? Hidden your cameras off and you're muted. That doesn't help us at all.
I gotta move the cat out.
Okay.
Playing with the blinds.
We're gonna wait for him before I say what I'm gonna say.
I feel it might be an impromptu dance time.
You guys can go ahead. I'm chilling.
I'm gonna take a nap real quick.
What do we got in chat?
We got nothing. Everyone's kind of commenting on sluggish movement for Tarkov. Like everyone's at 0, so everyone got sluggish movement as you play. You get that skill up and you get your smooth movement back. Yeah, once you build your skills back up from 0, they reset everyone to 0.
I think that was a good move though.
Well, I mean, you have to.
That's what made me stop watching.
What's that?
To be
Tarkov?
honest. Yeah, because
It's
I
only
knew,
been one
I'd be
day. What do you
invested
mean?
in watching someone's progress, and then one day
Yeah, I
they'd
get
do
that.
like a reset on the game, and they'd be back at nothing. And it's like, well,
Well, I
now I gotta watch
think the
them do the
grind
same
from
thing
nothing
all
is what
over again.
attracts you to maybe a certain
Yeah.
streamer, their play style, stuff like that.
Yeah. 'Cause I think this is the thing on that topic before we jump into the ninja thing. Even like me playing for like 6 weeks, I've had people come in consistently, and like at first I was like, oh, give me some tips and stuff, and there'd be consistent people. So now, like you say, there are people who are keeping up to date with my progress, and are like, wow, you're actually improving and you're doing things correctly, or things like that, because that game has this backbone of progression, not only like skill wise of like yourself, but also the backbone of like the gear you have, the amount of money you're making, the skills you're making, and it is this constant progression, like grind almost, and it gives a similar amount of satisfaction for the viewer as like a let's play would through a campaign, for example, where you're seeing
yeah, that's how I was thinking of it.
but like it's very streamer based on the content.
I'm gonna be excited to see a wipe for Tarkov. I want to
Me
see
too.
how it's going to implement or what's the word I'm looking for? Infect the game or change the game from the beginning versus where it is now. Right now, it's a pain in the ass because everybody's got like the best gear and they go in and they're already at fucking half, like they're already in yellow KG. Like, hey, you're gonna be slow.
Yeah.
But
The
anyways,
question is do you like the wipes or do you like the current updates as they're coming out? I like the content updates, but I like the excitement of a fresh wipe.
I like a
would-
fresh
Where
wipe.
are you at? Because hitting level 40 and just being done with the game is easy. Building
I
up a
would
stack of
rather-
50 million is easy.
Yeah, that's a lot of people I've spoken to. That's why they stopped playing. I would like the content updates progressively, and then wipe, and then everything be there. I don't want that to be a wipe, and then you've been playing for a week. We're gonna wipe this skill because we're implementing this, or we're gonna wipe this because I'd rather it be like a month of like every X amount of time. Be like, we're just doing a hot patch to add this, to add that, so people get familiar with these things, and then on wipe, it's like a normal wipe. It's not like a progressive wipe, if that makes sense, where some things are wiped and some things aren't. Like strength now, they've wiped strength, and that's messed a lot of people up.
Well,
because
strength and endurance. You're down
endurance,
to
yeah.
nothing.
because you get used to a certain way of playing and it becomes muscle memory, kind of like how PUBG changed their aim. It's
Right.
like second nature for you to know movement and for you to understand how your character fits through certain places or moves through a certain environment. And for that to be wiped whilst everyone is still where they used to be with gear and all that stuff, but the full gear that people were running, they now can't run because of weight or because of their movement and things like that. Although it's annoying, I'd rather understand it and then go into a wipe and all that content be there.
Right.
So everyone's like same level, understands everything, and then can move forward. But with the massive influx of players now, it's even more unfair because there's been people who've been playing for a week and they're like, oh, I'm starting to get used to it, and now everything's changed.
Mm.
So where do you see, with this being the last year wipes for Tarkov, where do you see it going forward now with them, you know, having players hitting level 70 in 6 months? You have 200 million rubles,
Yeah.
100,000 USD. What do you do? The game's still at that point. There's not enough quests to keep it going. I hit the Kappa container. And even
That's
though
kind
they're
of end game,
quests,
really,
like,
isn't it?
yeah, you're at end game.
Well,
I'm out of things to do beyond killing people.
I think what they need to do is, like, if you think about the addition of labs, that's say average 150k buy-in, not to mention the gear you take in. So already you need to be fairly committed and fairly well off to warrant that amount of expenditure versus the gain you might get. I think what they need to do is, instead of adding in like a new vest or new headsets, things like that, I mean, that's great and it changes some aspects of it, but they need to add more end game, because they have to remember a massive majority of their player base are at that cap, have done everything in the game,
constantly grinding, getting there.
Exactly. So like, it's all well and good adding additions for the new players, but the new players haven't been there for years. It's the older players that need the content, which are the people who are going to keep it going, which is why it parallels DayZ quite a lot, because they change so much, and all the old school guys are like, well, this isn't the game I remember. And I think that's something the devs need to keep in mind.
The underlying problem with games like this, like with DayZ and Tarkov, is that I don't think there's anything that they can do. There's going to be no end game always. Like, I'm not level 40. I'm level 31, but I'm already end game. Like, I don't need the Kappa container. I have a Gamma. I'm limited in what I can put in there right now anyways. And I've already got the best armor and access to the best ammos because of the flea market. I don't need to hit level 40. I could stop playing right now and be completely content. It's not gonna matter.
Does that mean that they need to make it harder then?
It's too easy to make money. It's way too easy to make money.
The flea market kind of broke everything. Like I'll put it into perspective like this. Say you have a quest to retrieve X amount of item, right? Say you have a quest to receive or like to find in raid, say 4 paracord, right? So paracord's like a rare raid drop that you find in containers or in certain loot spawns, right? If you know those loot spawns, that's easy.
You can just cycle.
But
right, you just run that map until you find them.
You run that map till you find them. I found like 2 in 1 raid on reserve the other day. It's not that hard, but with the introduction of the flea market, there are some quests where you don't need to find it in raid. You just have to hand them in, and you can just buy them.
You can just buy them.
What that's done is inflated the prices of certain objects that have no use other than that quest, because people know the necessity that people have to buy them, and because of that, like for example, the Red Rebel Ice Pick, right? If that had no use in game, it wouldn't be 7 mil.
Well, it's a $40,000 item based on the flea market's parentheses price. It's the trade price.
Tarkov,
so when you go to it, it's $6 million, but Tarkov estimates its value at 50,000.
It doesn't matter. Like, you don't have to go in. It doesn't matter if the quest's there or not. Tarkov with the flea market has introduced a new wave of not lazy players, but number players. So what they do is they do the math on what things cost, and that's how they make their money. People that aren't good at shooters don't want to get good at shooters. They just play the raid or play the game without raiding to make money, so they can play the market. So a big issue that we're seeing now for Tarkov is people are buying things from the trader, buying it out, and then they're reselling it for a little bit more, and they're making 10 times more money without ever raiding.
That's something I would do.
So like, and that's something we talked about like before they did the flea market, that we knew this was going to be a problem, and it's still a problem. It's more rampant than ever
There's
right now.
There's a huge problem with people that just don't even do quests. People will
don't
go
do
on,
anything.
hit level 5, they just buy everything off the market because they know they can kill people, they know they'll make money, and if you're willing to pay the inflated price for an item, it doesn't matter. You don't have to do anything. You're literally playing the game to kill people. It's essentially Call of Duty to you at that point.
Yeah, because the thing is, obviously, like, gear fear is meant to be a thing. In essence, is the concept is you have this stash of safe things, and then you have a character that they go into, and if you die, you lose it all. And that's fine. You might get it back on insurance, but, you know, it's kind of whatever. But, like, for example, and this is something that is really, really getting to me, and I'm not necessarily, like, a veteran player, but I play it enough to understand. Like hatchlings, for those who don't know, I'll explain it. You have certain slots like backpack slots, armor slots, gun slots, so on and so forth. And with a hatchling, essentially, you take nothing in and you just focus on certain world loot spawns to get certain high tier gear. So if someone kills you, they get absolutely nothing for it, and you've still made the money because it's gone into your secure container. And I must have ran into 8 in 5 raids yesterday, and bear in mind, if these were fully geared players, I would have made money from that. You know,
not guaranteed now. No, not with the weight system now. Nope, you don't get shit. And if you don't drop your shit, guess what, brother? You walk into the extract. You know, I saw people yesterday that were saying in chats that it took them like 30 minutes to get to an extract after killing a 2-man squad. At what part?
You saw it yourself. You ran the offline raid.
Like, what about that is fun? There's nothing about that's fun to me. Like, there's got to be a line between fun and realism, and right now, the weight system is just not good, period.
Yeah, and I feel like that in itself is forcing people towards the flea market more, because it's not hard to do. Like, for me, when I was new, I was just kind of bored, and I was watching some streams and stuff, and I was, I need to make some more money, because I wanted to, like, I've only got the base version of the game, so I wanted to make money to upgrade my stash, which is like 3.5 million. So I was like, well, what do people? It doesn't take a genius. I was like, okay, what do people need a lot of consistently? It's like ammo, meds, food, water, right? So okay, so I looked up like the prices of a bottle of water, right? And people are trying to undercut the in-game traders because they show up on the flea market. So Therapist sells water for 11.731k, right? Everyone's selling like 20 bottles for like 30, like for like say 8k, 9k, right? I literally bought that night, it must have been over 1,000 bottles of water and relisted them at 11,700, and I like pretty much single-handedly readjusted the value of water in Tarkov because I made 6 mil in one night reselling water because I was bored, and that was like 2 weeks into my gameplay.
Yeah, there's
anyone can do it. It's a lot of fun.
There's a big flaw in that. There's a big flaw in that, and that's the therapist only has so many bottles of water, and I think it's less than 200. I can't remember what it was, but like at one point on a fresh reset, she had 86 bottles of water within a second, and I tried to buy one, and she was sold out, and I'm like,
yeah,
bro,
well,
like
when
put in an offer and let it sit.
What's that?
Like when it can you put in an offer and just let it sit so like when it restocks?
No,
you'll just immediately
no,
buy it?
no,
Okay.
not for the traders.
No, so there was a thing with trader bots almost where they would just buy high value items at under a certain threshold and relist. The thing is, with them having in-game traders offering items at a certain price, so like I said, therapist sells, we'll use water as an example, 11,731. She sells out. The value of that one bottle of water goes from 11.7 to like 22k, like that. So if you're stockpiling, say, 200 bottles of water, which you bought for 8k, 9k, and then you're reselling each individual one for 22k, you haven't put the work in, you haven't done anything, you haven't gained any more gear or money because of skill. It's because you know how markets work, and it's the same with any other game with an online market, like World of Warcraft, etc.
I was gonna say
it just gets
it's,
abused.
Like, off topic, but I do that in RuneScape.
Yeah.
Like I don't play the game, but you can buy membership with in-game coins. So what I'll do is I'll just, since I'm not playing, you could put a listing in or like a buy offer for, I don't know, let's say it's like a longbow for X price, like 25% under what it's listed for. You buy 1 million of them, and eventually over that month that you're not playing, they'll just buy and buy and buy. And then once you hop on, you just sell them all.
Yeah. Yep.
And you just made 200% of what you put in, and
it's not hard to
then
do.
you can work towards.
No,
I mean it's
But at least for that, you could work towards getting yourself membership.
There's a benefit to doing it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's always going to be a part of the game. Now,
Yeah.
like since they've implemented it, it is what it is. They're
they
not
need
going to be able
to do something about it.
but they need to do something. Something
It's
needs to
so
change.
hard. There's nothing that stops a player like me who's sitting at 40 million rubles from buying everything of one item on the market, as long as I have the stash space and relisting it. I did it yesterday with grenades. They implemented new grenades that are like guerrilla warfare grenades, and they were selling for 30k a piece. I could have bought all of them on the market, resold them for 80k, and they would have bought.
They would have sold.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You did almost buy all of them.
I did. I bought
Almost
I think I
all
bought
of them.
40 of them.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you bought
I
a lot of
bought
them. I
half the
watched you.
market.
Yeah,
I brought them into a raid just to throw them at scavs because I thought they'd be fun.
Yeah. And
They
this
didn't
is
kill
the
much.
thing.
Nothing that stops that.
I think that's something you see it at the beginning of wipes as well. So things like that you need early on for your hideout and stuff, like light bulbs is a prime example. Early wipe, they go for 40, 50k a piece.
There's still 10, 11. Okay.
And they're still 10, 11 because
Yeah.
people need them. So and I think Pestily did something where he completely readjusted the market. I think it was Pestily. He bought a bunch of like really low tier stuff and got all of his chat, and bear in mind Pestily pulls like thousands of viewers. So that's a lot of active players. Bought all of a certain type of ammo, relisted it for like 3 times the price, and single-handedly shifted the price of that ammunition, and everyone made millions of rubles.
Week 1 of the patch, I was sitting at, I think, about 14 million rubles. I ran interchange 40 times, got all the hideout shit, and all of it selling for 500k plus. Car batteries were going for almost $1 million. So I single-handedly almost ran the market on things for your hideout.
Well, and that's where the weight system comes into play now. You're not going to be able to do that now. You're not going to be able to run out with 20 batteries.
Now I can't bring more than a pistol and a helmet.
No, but I mean,
underweight.
Things still need to be adjusted, but let's leave it at that. We've talked about Tarkov for way too fucking long.
We all day on Tarkov.
This is not a talking Tarkov podcast, so we're going to move away from that. Mariah, what's going on? Good morning. Let's talk about something else here. So one thing I was going to mention earlier. One thing I was going to mention earlier is he mentioned Ninja, and Doc just tweeted out a video that he is staying on Twitch. I don't know if we saw that. If anybody has any comments on that,
I heard about it.
I kind of thought
he under contract with Twitch now, beyond just a partner.
Not that I know of, but
he's
just said he tweeted out. He made a video like, "Hey, I'm not going anywhere. I'm staying on Twitch." Which I like. I think it's a smart move. I think with all the money that these guys made, like Shroud and Ninja, I still think staying on Twitch is the way to go. I don't think switching over, because I can't justify.
So can we compare stream numbers to actual money that you're being paid in a contract. I mean, obviously Mixer paid Ninja something to go over there.
Millions.
Whether or not we still know. I mean, it was rumored, what, 10, 12 million?
I thought, no, 30 million is what Ninja
I
was.
heard 30.
It was something ridiculous. So this man made a piss pile of money, never has to work again, guaranteed his house is paid off. Red Bull paid for a streaming room. Like, he's got more than enough money for anything.
Like 5
but
generations are paid off.
is it still the excitement to stream every day? I mean, I gotta imagine 6K viewers when you're used to 30 feels kind of low.
Yeah.
But you are still making that money. You know, you are guaranteed your $30 million contract throughout the 10 years he has to stream there now.
Well, this is the thing. I think to an extent, the money payout he got, yeah, that was a good incentive. But if you look, I mean, obviously Ninja is a prime example. He was best of the best, top of the top, pulling the most numbers. And the reason that he has that
setting records daily.
Exactly. The reason he has that Red Bull sponsorship, that Adidas sponsorship, is because he pulled that amount of people. If you take that pull away, yeah, he has a name for himself. But then again, if you think that you are a brand, say like any brand, and you want to do a business deal for advertising purposes, because that's the whole point of business deals, let's be honest, is you want to get your product out there and collaborate with people to do that. If you have someone say, like, for example, Dr. Disrespect, he's pulling, say, 40,000 viewers, and you have Ninja pulling 6, to you, from as a marketing perspective and as a business perspective, who is going to be the most viable person to choose in that?
Yeah,
realistically speaking,
for me, I think if Ninja's position is that he's gonna do it for maybe 3 years, he'll stay on Mixer. Like if he has a time contract, that would be the biggest thing for me. Like I think he does.
I think he's on a time contract.
If they offered me 30 million for 3 years or 4 years of my time, I would do it. I would do it immediately. Take the viewer
cut. You gotta
cut.
keep streaming, and are you gonna stay on Mixer, or are you coming back to Twitch where you don't have anything?
I'm coming back to Twitch. If I'm Ninja, I'm coming back to Twitch as soon as that contract's up. Because, but if you decide to make that move, and I still, even regardless of whether it's Ninja, well, you know what? If he does go back to Twitch, I don't think it actually matters. I was gonna say, I don't know if he's gonna come back immediately.
Do you think they'll repartner him? Do you think he'll get?
I think he'll get. Yeah, absolutely. It's fucking Ninja. Are you kidding me? He's got a deal with Ninja. He's got a deal with a deal with Adidas. He's got a deal with Red Bull. Of course, absolutely. He's gonna get repartnered. Yeah, I think if I'm in Ninja's shoes, I do a time contract and then I come back. Yep. And I was gonna say I don't know if I come back to 30,000 immediately, but the moment everyone finds out that he's coming back, he's gonna have 100,000 viewers easily on the first day.
I think that's the thing. If you remember the whole Dr. Disrespect being banned off Twitch thing, he was a month his ban was for, I think.
Yep.
Couple weeks, a month. And the thing about that is, everyone lost their shit because it was headline stuff, and that's when you see the crossover between mainstream media and kind of Twitch and everything, is because of the quantity of people speaking about it. There's no other choice but to go mainstream because, you know, it's going to make sense. So when Ninja signed over to Mixer went from being pretty much dead to, you know, way up because Ninja made that move. If Ninja's there for, say, 3 years and he's let's say 30 mil, that's 10 mil a year, and yeah, your numbers might dwindle. But the minute you decide to go back, that in and of itself, the amount of traffic that generates purely just because of word of mouth and conversation and stuff like that, he's going to be straight back up there because people are like, whoa, you've come back, blah, 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 what's going to change? And people are interested in that. And we saw that in Doc when he was like,
he got banned and came back.
And came back. Yep. And everyone was like, oh, you know, Doc's dead, he's not coming back. And then
same with Tyler One. Tyler One got banned off league, and the day he was unbanned, fucking back 300k viewer. That fucking insane. 321,000, I think, is what it was. I don't know what the numbers were exactly.
You set a viewer record for the day, right?
Yeah. For Twitch for a while.
Yeah, for a while until Ninja retook it.
Yep. And I think that's the thing. It's numbers based, and I think it's something to remember. Is he got paid a shitload of money, but for him, like, if for example, JR, we'll use you as an example. Say you go from getting your average viewership now, and someone turns around and says, okay, here's $30 million, but you get nowhere more than 20 viewers every single stream you do.
I do it for a time.
Makes sense for the time, but you come back and then you want to build that again, because I think for Ninja, you get to the top of the game and then you drop. You can build
what I was
again.
Gonna bring up. You got to think of it from like the challenge point of view.
Yeah.
Someone who's in his position is obviously doing that to try to get to the top. Like that's part of the reason. That's part of what brings like the satisfaction of doing it is climbing the ranks and getting up to the top. Once you're at the top, what do you have to work
Where do you go? Yeah.
I think
so going to Mixer could have been like
he was already at the top though.
But he's top of Mixer to begin with.
But Mixer's nothing. It's nothing. Mixer's not gonna. It's not gonna be like
part
Twitch.
of it to still grow.
It's not gonna be like Twitch. It'll never be like Twitch.
Onto
I'm telling
that
you that right
point,
now.
with Ninja being under contract for say
We'll see.
the next 3 years, does he make that move in his own mind to come back to Twitch? And if he does, he gets repartnered. He keeps his sponsorships. He regains his viewership. You know, say he averages 20,000 viewers instead of 40. You know, like he was when he switched. Does Mixer die off? I mean, obviously,
Probably.
that's a huge thing for people that were like, okay, well, if Ninja's gonna go stream on Mixer, I'm gonna go do it too, right? You know,
Unless
something beyond the money that he likes.
I think that, and I remember Shard speaking on this, is because it's such a new platform, they're very open to changing how things work for these bigger guys and implementing certain things. But then all we've seen come from that is Mixer's done it because of people like Shard and Ninja who have been like, hey, this needs this, and this could make it better than Twitch, and Twitch will turn around and be like, yeah, well, we can do that too. That's not a problem. The thing that I think with this whole Ninja situation is, if you think of the relevancy of certain games and the amount of exposure individuals get because of those games, I think for Ninja, he got to the top, and going to Mixer for that amount of money was a very easy way of a simple buyout of a load of money where his future doesn't depend on the well-being of a game. Because he's got to the top, there's nowhere else for him to go. If he can get himself to a stable position and not have to worry.
So you're looking at this from basically a retirement kind of
set.
perspective. He's at the top. Now he's at the retirement. It doesn't matter what he do. You know what he does. He could stream DayZ for the next couple days.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. He could he could do the most ratchet thing in the world, and he could get banned off the platform. He's still got 30 mil. A game could drop off. He could completely die as a content creator.
We don't know what the cost is.
We have no idea. None of that ever went public.
He might not have any of it yet.
He basically
could get a tenth of it and not have to think about money ever again. Do you know what I mean? So I think for him as well, because you know the whole DudeiRage thing, that was kind of a thing on the internet, and you know, being a streamer isn't stable. It isn't like set in stone that is the rest of your career. You earn that amount of money, you need to worry about nothing else. So he could do, you know, he could fall off completely. Fortnite could fall off completely, but that doesn't affect him from a financial standpoint. He's fine regardless.
No, he's already a brand. He basically sold his Twitch brand to Mixer, basically.
So what are your thoughts based on Mixer targeting huge Twitch streamers?
They're doing
switched over Shroud.
They're doing it because they're desperate. They listen. Mixer. I mean, it's not a stupid PR move. It's smart. It's smart to go after the biggest Twitch streamers. It was a console
streaming platform. You know, it was implemented in Xbox 360 days.
It's still very limited.
It's meant for that.
It's still very limited to console, and that's why Mixer's numbers are so low. Mixer doesn't offer the same atmosphere that Twitch does. It's just a fact. Their logo might be okay, like their basis on their point systems and everything else that they do, in comparison to Twitch might be okay, but it's still not Twitch. Like that's not to say that Mixer streamers aren't as good as Twitch streamers. I'm not saying that at all. I know a few Mixer streamers that I really like.
There's more depth to Twitch. Like being partnered or being owned by Amazon.
It means so much more to make it on Twitch, the one that started it all, than it does to make anything on Mixer. Like it's not to be offensive to any Mixer streamers that might be watching or listening. Like, you know, it's the same grind, it's the same hustle. If anything, it's harder because there's way less viewage on Mixer than there is Twitch. However, it's just not the same, and the only way you'd understand that is if you started on Twitch and looked at Mixer from the side and vice versa. Granted, it's like I said, it's the same grind, it's the same hustle. I have the same respect for Mixer streamers as I do Twitch streamers, but I don't want to be partnered on Mixer versus being partnered on Twitch. I'd much rather be a Twitch partner, regardless of viewership, and make it there versus Mixer.
So where do you compare it to as far as like starting out? You know, do you come at Twitch with thought of being big? Do you come at it with the thought of creating content for YouTube and just having something that people can watch live? Do you come at it that way? Do you do that in the same mindset on Mixer? Do you create Call of Duty content on your Xbox One, PS4, or whatever, with the idea of growing to be a partner on Mixer?
I think you have to create differently on Mixer. You absolutely do. because Mixer is a more like we both said, is a more console-based platform. So you have to play what's popular on console. So like a big thing that's coming to console is Arc. Arc's coming, right? And once that gets there, Arc is going to blow up on Mixer. Absolutely.
Well, Arc's been huge on console for years, but it's finally getting more content.
That's what I'm saying.
And that's going to help it.
So people are gonna like, if I'm a Mixer streamer and I'm like, my channel's not where I want it to be. And now that I
target certain things,
well,
you target certain games.
You do that on Twitch to begin with,
and console exclusives too, like PlayStation exclusives. PlayStation has phenomenal exclusives. Like if I'm a Mixer streamer, I'm looking at those games that no one else is gonna have, that Xbox isn't gonna have. PC might have it, but Xbox isn't gonna have it.
Red Dead 2, when it came out for console, it was huge on Twitch. It was top 3 games being streamed for a couple weeks.
The way that I kind of view it is, it's like, if you're massive on YouTube and then Vimeo comes knocking at the door and it's like, hey, do you want a partnership deal? We'll pay you loads of money. It's like, okay, if you're top of your game and you're doing whatever you want and it's working and that's fine, then someone offers you a load of money, that's great. But I think them targeting big guys is a good idea because it helps improve that platform. And yes, it might have brought numbers.
Brings that next level of quality to it.
But I don't think that I don't think that they thought the numbers would be permanent anyway. I think more than anything, it's either they don't focus on the big guys and make it more interesting for the smaller guys to come over and be like, oh, look, here's a new platform, because they have no incentive to move. Whereas if they bring bigger guys over and the bigger guys are on board with the development of the platform, this, that, and the other, then yeah, that's going to improve. But at the same time, for smaller guys on Mixer, you don't have the same level of like buy-in to do it, if that makes sense. So if you want to do a high quality stream on Twitch, like PC wise, you need to have a good setup, you need to be able to record decently, you need to have good audio, so on, so forth. And that is just a given. Like, it took me a long time to get my quality to where it is. If I can press a button on a console and be live, there's nothing that changes me from the other hundreds of thousands of people that are doing it in the exact same way. Do you know what I mean?
And you know what? And I made a comment earlier that it might be harder on Mixer, and I'm going to take that back. I think it's just as hard as Mixer as it is for Twitch for different reasons. First off, Mixer has no viewers, or not even like 10% of the viewers that Twitch has, and Twitch has 5,000 way more, tons more streamers to view, right? So you gotta look at no one's watching versus everyone's watching, and people. And I've studied streaming all the time. I kind of taken a step back from studying streaming because I kind of saw it as a flaw. Like maybe I'm looking into things too much, but for years I've always seen, and this proves to be so true, is that people will click on the streams with the more people in it. They don't generally click on, but there's also a large portion of people that want that personal interaction, that don't believe they can get it for bigger streamers, and will come to someone with lower viewers. Now, perfect example of switching things up, right? I did something that a lot of people have messaged me about. The moment I got partnered, and said that this isn't like, bro, why are you doing this? But like, I did it not because I got partnered, but because, well, kind of because I got partnered, but because DayZ was trash. DayZ has been trash for 2 patches. 1.06 was terrible. It was fucking awful. I dealt with it. 1.07, they tried real hard. It's still ass. It's terrible. It's a terrible patch. That's 2 patches in a row. We're talking about DayZ standalone. The dev team infamous for 6 months for 1 patch for very simple things, right? I'm not saying it's easy to be a game dev or easy to make changes and make choices. It's not. I understand it's stressful. But we had 2 bad patches in a row. It was right around the time I got partnered, and I switched games. And like, I have very clearly suffered because of that. But I am so much happier not playing DayZ in a shit state every single day. And like, I got on it for the first time yesterday. You guys know I've been averaging 9 viewers, which is whatever. I'm still happy. Don't matter. 9 to 40 on Tarkov, 40 on a good day, around 30 on a decent day, but 9 viewers on average, right? Which is whatever. I went on DayZ yesterday. Granted, I got a host from Lottie, right? It doesn't matter. I retained 70 viewers average. That's what my average was last night on DayZ, right? Like, it's
you also
unbelievable.
Gotta think you've invested 7 years of your life.
7 years of my life into DayZ.
That's 7 years of people that you've accumulated.
Yeah,
and I get that, and you know what, and I take a step back and I look at the things that I've accomplished. I've I've gotten on one of the most infamous stream team on DayZ, the Karma Crew. I never thought I would ever be in that position, but I somehow am, right? Mm-hmm. One of the top 10 streamers to ever stream that game. That's unbelievable, which I didn't even know about that. Actually, somebody brought that up to me in my chat. I've accomplished so much in that section, but as a streamer, like, who wants to create content and create entertainment for the masses, do I really want to see myself in a position for another 7 years, 14 years playing DayZ standalone only?
You gotta diversify a little
You
bit.
have to. You
gotta do what makes you happy.
It's not even about happiness, but like being realistic.
Well, you
like,
don't want to be playing DayZ.
You want to be happy, but realistic from a business standpoint, you can't play the same thing. Like every streamer switches games. Yeah. Every streamer.
Yeah. Well, I think we've seen that time and time again. Like DayZ, like even we'll use Miner as a perfect example, right? Die-hard DayZ player, always has been. That was his thing. That was like, for him, that was his, massive come up was that game. And even him now, like, he's tried to change a couple of times. He did some Sea of Thieves content. He's now doing Tarkov stuff. And like, even for me, I used to play like 5M all the time. I used to play DayZ all the time, and that's why I had to take a break, because there's only so many times, like, you got to take mental health into consideration for this. There's only so many times you can force yourself to play something you don't enjoy under the fear of being consistent. The minute you break out of it, and the minute you're like, right, I'm gonna make content for me, like, the whole energy around what you give off, the whole energy in your chat, the whole energy of the stuff you're playing improves tenfold. People will come and go regardless of what you do. As long as you're in a good place, that's only going to come better. Because like JR, you played DayZ, like you say, for 7 years. And it got to the point in the last couple of months, you've just hated it, but you've played it for the sake of having to basically play it. And now you've changed. Your whole energy on stream, the whole...
Everything has gotten way better ever since I quit playing DayZ consistently.
People are going to come and go. People are going to come back. I wouldn't be surprised in a couple of months you double, triple what you're pulling now, because it is a change. And when you do change, people on Twitch don't like change.
Well, people on Twitch don't want to see you be unhappy, though. I mean, people don't want to watch you be absolutely miserable. If you get shit on in a game 15 times in a row on Tarkov, and all of a sudden you're like, okay, I'm down 6 mil on the day, I'm going to switch games. Like, people are going to understand, but at the same time, people are there strictly for, Tarkov content. With DayZ, people don't move out of the DayZ section. People that watch DayZ are
it's
very
such a niche game.
DayZ.
Yeah.
They don't want to watch you play Tarkov, regardless of the fact that it's another survival game. They don't want to watch you play Siege. They don't want to watch you play Fortnite. They don't care. People that watch DayZ are very DayZ targeted. That's why they're there. They're watching DayZ YouTube content, everything with that.
I think
it's very similar to other games, though.
Every section's like that. A lot of people won't leave the section. DayZ is very, very, like, a really good, like, example for if every streamer, like, every upcoming streamer that's watching this or might be listening, that's studying, that wants to learn, DayZ is a perfect example of a section to watch or even start in, because people will stay in DayZ. Like, unlike any other game, they won't go anywhere. They will stay there.
People in DayZ find their streamer too. People in DayZ will watch one person and one person only, unless you're not online. Then they move to a tier 2, tier 3 streamer. The hard part is with DayZ in its current state, with it being out on PS4, on Xbox, like, people are able to stream it more. The content in the section is a little bit more flooded with people, just because it's out to everyone. People on console have been waiting for years to see DayZ.
Well, this is the thing. Like, I started streaming DayZ, and I was very heavy into the DayZ section, and that's basically where my channel started and where it grew to.
Where a lot of people started.
Exactly, and that was the start for a lot of people. But I played DayZ for a while and just wasn't. I mean, I used to really enjoy it. I used to love it, but then it just started to get worse and worse. And I'm talking like the dev actions as well as like the overall server vibes. Because before, like a couple of years ago,
you used to be able to find people and have a conversation. Now everyone just kills everyone.
Now it's kill on site, and then
it's very difficult.
The console came into it, and I went to Siege, and Siege did really well for me. And I used to love Siege, but I didn't put enough time into it to be able to perform. Because there's so many like micro mechanics, like peak angles, so on and so forth.
Well, Siege is rough to begin with anyway. Siege is a very interesting section where you're either a pro player or you are very heavily YouTube related content.
Yeah.
You're that guy that figures out glitches. You're that guy that's, going to the rooftop and dropping down to the first floor, taking 0 damage, cutting, like killing the entire team. It is very one-dimensional in the R6 and other communities.
Well, I think if you're in DayZ, you're fairly stuck in DayZ, and if you move section, you're going to see a pretty big drop.
Oh, you see a huge drop in viewership.
The pass can only account to that, whereas in that, like, for example, we'll use Sacriel as an example, right? He's very much top of the EFT food chain and averages 14 to 16,000 viewers. Because he's big, he moved from that over to Call of Duty and is on 19.3, 20,000 viewers. Because he's big and he, like, we're out of
he can outpace the people already at the top.
Exactly. So if you're in that position, to an extent, it doesn't really matter. You'll have some people drop off. You might have 500, 1,000 people drop off. You're pulling 20,000 viewers. That doesn't matter. But if you're pulling 100, 200, 300, and they're all from one section, and you lose all of them, then to you that's going to be a dip. But all you can do is regain that more. And also, like, you've been playing for 7 years, JR, but Twitch hasn't been big for 7 years as well. And the DayZ is super competitive too. So
like, and you know what? It doesn't matter what the section is. The trick is to, and I don't know the secrets to this because I don't. But I don't know how Minder's been much more successful, much longer than I have. But he switches games. He still retains around 100, right? Which is the ultimate goal. Like, you want to get to a point where, like, no matter what you're playing, you still have at least 100 viewers, and like that's all I want. Right, like, and I don't base my happiness.
You do get that, like, cult following. I feel
I do have a cult following. But the problem that the cult following has is that if I'm not playing DayZ, it's see you later, right?
Yeah.
And I don't base my happiness
on
that.
Following for DayZ versus, I guess, like the streamer.
But yeah, I mean, and that's what I believe. I'm gonna watch the streamer or be friends with my friends because I like them. I'm gonna watch them. Granted, I'll open a stream of somebody that I know that's playing League, and I ain't gonna fucking watch it. But that tab's still gonna be it's gonna be open.
Yeah, you're there for the viewership.
Exactly. I'm just exactly there to support him. Exactly. Like, and I would much rather watch or play Siege than watch Siege, but I'd still have a streamer open. I'd still have Hidden open on another monitor, just while I'm doing my thing.
The hard part about Twitch in general is kind of that there are people to watch the game specifically versus create a relationship with the streamer. People don't come at things wanting to be friends. You didn't join Six Mac's channel going, this guy's gonna be a close homie of mine in 6 to 8 months. You joined because you're like, okay, what's this guy doing? What's he doing different than me? Why is he, killing 10 times the people I am? Why is he seeing more people? Why is he getting more interactions? People go into streams to learn. And then the people that want to stay around, be your friend, hang out, have that conversation, get to know you a little bit more intimately, are the people that are gonna follow you to other. They don't care if you're playing Siege. They don't care if you're playing League. They don't care if you're playing Rust. They don't care in general. They want to be there because you're there.
And I think that's the thing. And regardless of what game you're playing, is I've seen some streams, and they could be really great at the game. And if you're the type of person who is looking at it from that very analytical perspective of like, why you this, why you that, why you this, then you could mute that stream and the content doesn't change. Do you know what I mean?
You just watch.
You just watch. Whereas, like, for example, like me and JR, I've watched JR for ages. I didn't think we were going to be like homies. Do you know what I mean? I didn't think we were going to be doing this. But regardless if we're homies or not, I still watch his stream for the content, if that makes sense.
Right, you're there for a bit of both.
Exactly. But I think with there being this massive influx of like a lot more console people into it, I think it's a lot harder to be as interactive in Twitch chats through a console, and I think that's why we're seeing a massive exponential blow up of like these educational streams, because that's Sacriel's whole thing and Pestilly's whole thing is they teach you the game and people are there to watch that, and then as a sideline of that, they're picking up on the personality as well because they have a main focus besides trying to be a personality, if that makes sense. So like the shift of focus on Twitch I feel has changed a little bit from making friends, having a community, because we all have really good communities and there's a lot of overlap, and we can all just talk to each other like we're friends, whereas if it's 3,000 5,000 people who are there to be educated, there's nothing keeping them there other than what they're learning. That's my viewpoint on it, at least in my experience of watching.
I'd agree on that. I mean, there's definitely people that are showing up just to learn.
Yeah.
You know, people want to know, why is Tarkov so much different when you play?
Yeah, and that's a prime example of it, because there's so many micro-mechanics to it.
That's why I was watching Sacro when he was playing DayZ back in the day, because
nobody played it like Sacro was
doing.
Yeah, and he's very smart, and he broke things down. He was the first person actually that said no backpack was the way, and ever since he did that, everybody's like, not everybody, but like a lot of people have followed in his steps. A lot of the old schoolers anyway. There's so many new players that just don't know, like. You know,
they'll just stack their inventory with anything and everything.
With everything.
They'll figure it out.
Mountain bags. They'll run around in a military area with a bright orange bag.
You're watching someone laying down in the middle of a field and just being an idiot. The man's got
they don't
understand. Yeah.
I mean, we were having this conversation
earlier.
Especially with Sacriel as well. His thing is his whole, like, he's so smart in anything he plays that he'll just start saying things and figuring shit out on the spot. And a lot of people don't have that skill. Like, I was watching him play COD, and we've been playing COD the same amount of time. And he's like doing this, that, and the other, dropping stuff like quick fire buttons, all this stuff. And I'm like, how? But to someone who's also new to it, like everyone is at the minute, they're going to gravitate to someone where they can learn these tricks. It's the same with DayZ, is that when you're a bit of a veteran at DayZ, and then obviously in other games as well, you understand what render distance is. You know that if you're lying in a field and someone's 100, 200 meters away from you,
you literally just are laying there.
You're lying there in an open field, but to a new player, it's like, oh, there's grass here. I can kind of hide in it.
So what's the rough part about render distance, especially to people that are new to PC? A lot of people don't understand the way settings work and the way render works, based off of the fact that there's 20 different graphics cards you can have currently, 100 different CPUs. People don't understand the way that their settings work differently from other people. You can run your game on stream, and stream takes 50% CPU usage, so your game's on all low settings. So someone's 300 meters out laying in a field, you see them, but they're brand new $4,000 PC, ultra everything, 200 FPS. They're never gonna see you.
No,
all bushes are rendered in.
You're a bush to them at that point.
You are literally rendering everything. I mean, in a pro sense of a lot of games, pro PUBG players, pro R6 players,
better off playing low settings.
Everything, you lower your like everything. I play on a medium and low settings. Yeah, I run my game on 4.3.
Yeah,
it is all about tactical advantage. Yeah, you know, if I have less things in my way, the better I am.
Yeah, for sure. Because I think that's the thing. That's the difference between PC and console. As console, it is set in stone. That's how it is, and you learn to adapt to that. Whereas I remember when I used to be pretty big into CS:GO, I'd be like, well, why does your game look like ass? And it's like, okay, you can have a head model this big or this big.
Right.
When you're in a stretched versus, 16 by 10, 16 by 9. And that's the kind of upper end of playing that people have to figure out. And if you're one of those people that figures that out first, that already puts you another level up. So if you have a viewership which is there to gravitate to that, like for example on Twitch, you're going to do well. On Mixer, you could figure out how to break a game completely, and if at max 100 people are going to come view you, that growth and that decision making would be more beneficial for you on Twitch as it is now than it would be for you to do that on Mixer.
Well, so with the whole breaking things aspect, like people that go out of their way to figure out how something works so much to the point where they exploit it and then break it, is that where you start focusing on Mixer and YouTube, Twitch, YouTube?
I think YouTube is a really important
because obviously there's a lot of people in the Tarkov section, like I brought up the R6 section, any game on Twitch, top 20 games, huge on YouTube, whether or not you watch them yourself or not. So do you focus more on growing your Twitch because of your YouTube content? Do you put it out there? You know, there are people out there that have done 10-man games. They run 10 PCs in their house, 10 monitors. They play Mr. Homeless, the man himself. You know, his YouTube content greatly feeds his Twitch content.
Yeah.
People are like, okay, so he played an entire ranked game. All of his accounts got banned because he's running a rank. You know, he's basically cheating.
Yeah.
You know, he can decide one person's getting 40 kills this match, easy peasy, he's done. But that draws attention. You put that in a YouTube title, you put your Twitch link underneath, you go, hey, I stream on Twitch 6 days a week. these are the times. Come check it out. People are gonna come see what you're doing.
Yeah, well, that's how I found Minder live streaming, because I watched his Brothers of DayZ series when I was super into it, and it was, oh, he streams on Twitch. Like, this is like another extension of this, pretty much, you know?
Right, you can watch the content being created live.
Exactly.
On top of all the content that's going to go on YouTube eventually.
Yeah.
You're getting that first-hand experience from his hours in game.
Like the behind the scenes.
Everything. Yeah, you're getting the behind the scenes of everything.
But also, if I see a Mixer link below in a description, likelihood is I'm not going to click it.
I never click a Mixer link.
I don't mean to like discriminate against Mixer, but with Twitch, if you're like
don't.
I stream on Twitch, then it's at least rest assured that it's going to be solid, at least in my mind, just because of the image that Twitch has.
Right.
Whereas if Mixer is very like, for example, if someone was like, "Oh, check out my new video," it's on Vimeo. I wouldn't be like, "Well, that's some high quality content." You know what I mean?
I'm not gonna watch it on Vimeo. I'm gonna watch it
well,
on YouTube.
exactly. This is my point. So
out of curiosity though, is coming from people that heavily use Twitch, are we skewed in our decision making through seeing a Mixer link?
I was gonna say, are we prejudiced?
10 people.
Are we prejudiced to platforms?
But look at it this way: if someone's like, "Oh, look at these really sick shoes, they're Skechers versus Adidas," are you more likely to buy Skechers or Adidas? Do you know what I mean?
Listen, I'll buy Kirkland
Listen,
brand shoes.
I've got listen, I got Skechers in my closet, but I still don't wear them. I'd still only wear Adidas.
Because they've built that brand, you know. That's the thing.
Skechers look like shit
yeah, well,
compared to Adidas.
You're buying the wrong Skechers.
I mean,
no.
fuck that. Are you buying an iPhone or are you buying an Android phone?
That's
a
preference.
different
It's very much. Well, I mean, it's not quite so different. I mean,
I think at the end of the day, it comes down, especially in the internet kind of space, is a lot of it is to do with image, a lot of it is to do with the numbers, a lot of it is to do with the experience there. For example, look at Amazon Prime, right? Amazon will buy stuff from us. Now they do food, now they do movies, now they do audio, they do everything because they have
same-day
that
delivery.
brand. Exactly. That's the thing. They built upon one thing, grew an audience, and expanded. So, for example, if someone was like, "Oh, there's a really great movie out. It's on Netflix. Awesome. I have Netflix. I'll go and watch it." "Oh, it's on Hulu." Okay. Now I don't, I'm not into that. I don't know that. So I'm probably not going to click it. It's the same thing with Twitch and Mixer. I'm familiar with the Twitch platform. I know how it works.
So are you comparing Twitch being like Amazon here in this sense? Well, I mean, not that it isn't already. But are you comparing Twitch to being like Amazon and Mixer to being like Walmart, who's now trying to heavily compete with Amazon in the online market?
That's the thing. The underdog mentality doesn't always work from a corporate perspective, especially on the internet. Because Twitch can put millions into advertising and into this and into that, and they have done, and they'll continue to do so. Whereas,
they've already established, and they already have partnerships with other companies too, including Bud Light, I believe.
Yeah, they're rolling. They're just going with the punches. They're building and continue. They're happy. It doesn't matter to them.
So how does Mixer grow to be where Twitch is now?
Because they've already done what they've already done that. They've already done that. So that
but Microsoft isn't a small company by any means. It can go punch for punch with Amazon and Twitch.
So Mixer's attack plan is how do they grow is exactly what they've already done. It's to buy out big streamers. And another step that they could take is that they could take consoles, which I think they're already done, and they make Mixer a default app on the console. For Xbox, and make it default on every computer desktop. Yeah. When you're selling a brand new Windows PC, Mixer right there. It's on there right away. So that's what they can do. But it doesn't offer, Mixer doesn't offer the same appeal as Twitch does. And a lot of Mixer people that are on Mixer are younger generations because they're playing console games and they're getting them for Christmas and their birthday and blah, 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 blah.
This is the point I was saying. With Twitch, especially early on, the accessibility wasn't there. Like, not everyone could just live stream. And it's a lot easier to do now, but even still, it takes a lot of effort and a lot of maintenance and a lot of energy to maintain a high quality stream. And you see it all the time. Like, for example, Dr. Disrespect, one of the things that sets him apart is his visuals, it's his video stuff, it's how he presents himself. All these things, his transitions, the whole arena thing.
He has like a full-on team.
Exactly, he has like a full-on team behind that, and to make it this experience. Whereas if someone said to me, either watch that or watch a 12-year-old kid playing Fortnite on console, they're both on different platforms.
Well, so, a lot of that's all appeal as well. I mean, it's not only brand appeal of going to Twitch, but selecting your streamer based off of like Do you want content? Do you want someone playing a character? Like Dr. Disrespect is a hard person to pass up if you're new to Twitch. You come to someone's stream,
it's easily accessible.
50,000 people watching. He's at the top. People don't want to watch a streamer that they have to scroll 5 minutes to find because like, oh, this guy looks like he might be doing something fun. Like it's hard to stand out.
But that plays into the Twitch community more, I feel, because like even me, I'm a pretty small streamer, but I know I have X amount of people who will chuck me hosts or who will watch because I'm, to support me kind of thing.
Right.
Because there is that network there. So, for example, JR, you're part of Karma Crew. You're playing with those guys. One of them goes off. You get that host. That puts you X amount of slots higher on the list when it comes down to it. On Mixer, if you're in a section with only 3 people in it, if everyone is giving you even you've got 5 friends, you're all viewing each other. Right. At that point, there isn't a community to back you up and grow you because networking is such a massive part of growing on Twitch and on the internet in general. If that's not there, how are you expected to grow? Because the amount of passive watching you're going to get from people trying to find you is a lot less.
There is no set formula to growth, and I know this because I've done everything. I've made all the mistakes, and one of the things I need to do is I need to make either a series of YouTube videos on streaming, or I need to make one long video explaining everything that I've done. I have done the most cringiest things because I thought it would get me success, and I have done the things that are the right way.
On your screen,
I've done everything. The over amount of alerts, the over amount of overlays on my screen, a big ass camera, all quality cameras until I finally upgraded to this thing, which is 4K capable, which I don't have it set to that. But I've done everything. And there is no set formula to success. Some people, I know streamers that have succeeded in a month. Twitch.tv/Naomi. She got partner in a month. Techly got partner in less than a year. It took me 5 years to get partner to become somewhat successful. It's a lot of pros and cons for everyone, and everyone's different, and everybody has to do certain assets of work in different sections, but it's not going to be the same for everybody. The only thing that is consistent is consistency. That's the only thing that you can use to build success on whatever platform you are, and whether you cross-platform or not, that's up to you, but cross-platforming is huge, whereas I've seen cross-platforming for other streamers not work and continues to not work. I won't name names because I don't want to be offensive, but like I know streamers that do Mixer, YouTube, Twitch that are not partner, that are only affiliated, they're allowed to do these things, and they're still sitting at 1 to 2 viewers, which is fine. It's a process. You have to work at it, but it's not always guaranteed to work. You have to find something that works, build on it, like find some little bit of success and build on that and make your stream better from there, pan out this way, and then process yourself up more. And it takes time to do that.
There's no formula for it.
There is no formula other than
regarding
consistency.
The whole cross-platform thing, and I know I've had conversations with you. There are websites where you can enter your username or whatever, and there'll be X amount of people viewing that, and it'll like chuck you a random host, and it'll be like these sites to like get big on Twitch websites. And there are people like companies out there or people who are looking for small to medium streamers who want to help them out. It's the minute they see their name on those websites, they don't help them, they blacklist them. Like that's just how it works, because in order to grow you need to put the work in. It's like very much like a get rich quick scheme for Twitch, people are like, like people who come into bots, like bots who come into chat. If you want to get famous, buy followers, buy viewers, buy primes. Like there's this whole thing, because Twitch has become like the main thing on the internet now for like the younger generation.
There's such a market for growing your own stream based off of creating. So with stream teams being like such a big thing, when you get on a stream team, it's huge. It's your first step in feeling successful. Being noticed from someone that is able to start that, has a community, has some higher position than yourself. That first time you're invited to one, it's super exciting. It's a really good feeling. There are a lot of people out there that are like close to Twitch partnership that can't start a stream team, so instead they create a small website, costs them $5 to make it, and they create this whole surrounding of, if you host me, I'll host you, we'll share viewers back and forth, we all grow together. But there are a lot of people out there that use that maliciously to create their own content and boost themselves. If you have 60 people hosting you for one person, and the average viewership needs to be 75, but you're in that mindset of like, okay, well, he's gonna get me back someday, but you have 200 people that he has to host or has to host. You know, there's a lot of people getting partnerships on Twitch, Mixer, anywhere, based off of just doing that alone.
Yeah,
like that's that whole competitive nature of trying to grow your stream in a legit way, an illegitimate way. You know, everyone grows on their own, but that's in your terms, you know, a get rich scheme. You make it, you market it, it takes you zero effort. You know, if you have a Discord of 200 people that you're in and you just randomly put it in there and a moderator doesn't catch it, you know, you're gonna have people sign up for it.
Yeah, and there are certain people. Obviously, community is a massive part, and we've had this conversation, JR, about like I'm a small streamer, so I want to help people out. You know, like if someone is like, I'll chuck all my friends' hosts. If I'm streaming and I'm joining stream and I will always host a close friend of mine. So, you know, to help them out kind of thing. Even if it's 3 viewers, 5 viewers, 10 viewers, doesn't matter. It's still a community thing. But there are people who like come into my Discord, and I have like a self-promotion thing.
Right.
Because all my Discord are like super close. So it's all basically like friends, really. But there's some people who have never contributed anything to the community, never
They'll
added
just
anything
join your
into the
Discord.
Join my
Just to
Discord, drop a
advertise.
Join
link.
your stream and join your Discord to
Advertise.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, if they were like an actual part of the community, that's fine. But to me, it's like no one has any reason to join you. No one has any. You haven't shown them who you are. You haven't actually
you haven't
exposed
networked yourself
So-
into it.
So that's one of the mistakes that I made actually early on streaming. And when I first got Discord, I joined about 200 Discords. And I'd only joined the Discords that had sections where I could advertise. I never gave a fuck. I muted every single one of them. I don't give a shit what's going on in there. I just go there, post my link, copy and paste, post my link. That's what I did. And you know what? That did help me to a point, but it never really actually gained me any traction at all. So I actually left like a lot of those Discords, and I only post in like my close friends. And if I ever do, I don't even do that anymore. I don't post my own live shit in other Discords. I only post it in mine. But I used to, and it can be a useful tool if you know that those are going to get you some sort of traction. But you should only do it in friends' channels because those are the only people that are really going to click on
Like,
it.
you gotta have that connection there already.
I think I do it in 3 channels. I think it's in mine.
I'm very honest, Kate.
Because I mean, I'm a big part of your community anyway. Like, not as in like look at me, but as in like I take part in it a lot.
I just looked over to Facebook streaming. Oh, sorry, I'm listening. You're good. Let's go to stream team.
In Sammy's as well, because I talk to a lot of people in her. So it's not like come show me. It's like, hey, people that I interact with, I am live. By the way, it's not like come and view me, come and view me, come and view me. It's just like, by the way, this is what I'm doing. If you want to come say hi, come say hi. It's very, very honest. But the amount of people who you can clearly see have never interacted at all. It's just it from the get-go it gives you a bad image, and everyone makes that mistake, but it's reputation based. It just is. That's how it is. If you are one of those people like everyone else who is using the same stream like overlay presets as everyone else, who is doing the same things as everyone else, eventually people are going to click that you are just doing the things like everyone else, and you might not be doing anything wrong in regard to the content you're creating, but just by following the crowd, nothing sets you apart. Nothing.
Well, people don't know that are early creators. You don't know that in the
And
beginning.
everyone makes that mistake. That's not a bad thing. I did it. JR did it. Hidden, I'm sure you did.
Everyone did it. I use default alerts for months.
Yeah, it's just part of growing, and that's the thing.
Exactly.
It's different for everyone, but there are channels on YouTube who have made an absolute killing from this whole like stream tutorial thing. Alpha Gaming is a prime example.
The teaching people to stream and teaching people in general is a huge content section. Yeah. And I forget who everyone wants to brought it up, but yeah, everyone wants to grow. Everyone wants to know how to be successful, and people are very successful trying to teach people what they did, but it doesn't work for everyone.
I was going to say there isn't
network with everybody in Twitch
formula.
There is no clear-cut formula. The only thing that's clear-cut that I can see is hard work and consistency, and that's it. And it's taken me years to get to that point to understand that, because I'm telling you boys, I literally did everything under the sun. There's a few things that I didn't do that I noticed other streamers do. So one thing that it's a huge pet peeve. I think it's super, super trashy thing to do. All right, and this is just tidbit. Don't do this. Yep. Don't bounce from every one of your friends' channels and host them for 1 viewer or 0 viewers because you're not on the air, and continue to do that. that is cringy as fuck, and that is also rude as fuck.
Don't be that guy.
Because that person thinks
that you're gonna go stream too.
No, well, that's a whole nother. That goes without. I think that's common sense, but as we know, common sense is not common.
Say common sense, but we've known people over. You know, Jared, I've known you for multiple years now. You know, finding 3 viewers on EFT forever ago, but like we've known people for a long time through just the DayZ community, other communities, not to throw them all out there, but people show up. They're that one guy. They just start streaming. They come and chat. 5 minutes. They host you. They're there for 3-4 messages. Then they go, okay, I'm gonna go stream now. And then like it's a big announcement to them. Yeah, it's just out there to try and grab.
Just to grab people in chat or grab you.
Why?
And you know what? And one of the things I really hate is that when a newer streamer comes into my chat, and that's all fine and dandy, they want to support me, but they ask me to play within 5 minutes or 10 minutes. Yo, you haven't even watched me, bro. You've been here for even up to an hour.
Bro,
like,
people that don't even ask. People that just join your stream.
Yo, like, let's play.
Yo. Discord, grab it. All right, pull me in. Like, I don't even know who the hell you are.
That's what I'm saying.
I do that with friends now. Like, just because you show up to my stream and we're friends doesn't mean like I'm not playing solo today. Like, I don't want to have to tell you every time you come into stream. They're like, hey, if you just ask me before, or if you ask me, like, I'm cool. But like, if you just show up and you join a channel in Discord and you put in "pull me" in all caps, like, no, go away.
Yeah.
Like,
well,
you feel annoyed. You feel annoyed. That's what I'm saying, dude. Like, and so
if you were to DM it, I feel like it would come off a lot.
It would come off a lot better
acceptable.
because it's in a private setting. But let me say this too: like for somebody with me who has OCD, I plan everything out of my day the day before that day comes up. So if I talk to my brother Josh and he says we're gonna play Tarkov tonight, that's who I made plans with. I'm playing Tarkov with that person tonight, or I'm playing DayZ with Josh that night. And when people come at me, they're like, bro, like, hey, let's play 5 minutes before. No, guess what? Because I already have plans. Like, dude, that fucking drives me up the wall.
Like, JR, how many times have we played the same games, literally the same games? How many times have we like had a very small discussion? Oh yeah, we'll play together soon. We'll play together soon. You know, what about this day? What about that day? And it's the same with me. Like the people you play with are part of the content you are making. And there's been times where I've been playing with, say, 2 people, and then, oh, I have a friend. That's the one that gets me every time. Oh, I've got a friend.
Oh, you mind if
that friend is always
you want a Jim Bob place?
Person.
I was gonna say they're gonna have the loudest mouths, have
the loudest, most unconsiderate, ratchet person who doesn't understand that you are making content and they're
munching on the mic.
So one person that I let me bring up, and he's actually probably in my chat right now, is Peter, Hairless Penguin. One person that I know is Peter, and Hidden and I know Peter. Default knows Peter. Netsy, I don't think you know Peter, but Peter can be very over the top. He does some things that I don't like at all, and he knows this. But one thing I know about Peter is that Peter knows where to draw the line sometimes. And like Peter will listen to what I'm saying to him and be like, okay, let me just chill. That's my boy. Like, cause I like Peter. Peter's my boy. Like, we're cool. But one thing I will not do is trust who Peter brings with him, because I know how Peter is.
They never know.
I know how he attracts people, and I know that they don't give a fuck about what they're saying into the mic. So, if Peter comes, I always let Peter know immediately. Just you, by the way. Like, not your boy, Young Trey, who's trapping in the fucking block. Like, that's not going to work. But you know what I'm saying? You get what I'm saying? Like, there's always extra baggage. You have to be very clear with people and let them know, like, hey, like, this is not going to work for me. So if you're coming to play, that's fine.
Because you got an image, too.
So where do you guys draw the line, though? Like, I don't care when people bring other people. What I want to do is I want to know people. Like, I want to know the person you're bringing. If you bring along one other person, doesn't matter. If we're running 5 people, or you're in a game of, like, say, Siege, and you have a team of 5 to fill out, I'd rather not have a random, because you never know what the hell your random's going to say.
Okay.
You never know if that
one random could get you banned off Twitch.
Right, exactly.
That's what I'm saying.
He's going to go ahead, and he's going to start throwing everything at you.
Yeah.
You kill him one time, he's going to let your entire stream know that you're this,
trash.
this, and this, and you're fucking garbage, and you should have jumped off a bridge a week ago.
I mean, something that I've learned very recently regarding that topic is, so I used to play with a very consistent group of people, and then, you know, usual drama, won't go into it. Anyway, stop playing with those people, right? So for me, it was because I mean, a lot of people say that find a consistent group of people to play with, and build from that. Right?
You should find people you enjoy playing.
Exactly. Right.
You know,
So for
everyone
me, for
should
a
be
long
happy
time,
on stream.
I didn't focus on my own like identity on Twitch. So I didn't focus on like me personally. So I didn't feel like when I wasn't playing with these people, I was stressed out because I was like, well, this changes everything. Like my streams are different, I'm different, all this stuff. Anyway, over the last couple of weeks, I've basically been solo the majority of the time, or I might be in duos or trios occasionally with different people, new people that I haven't played with that I've spoken to for a long time but just haven't got around to. But now, like, my streams have like doubled in popularity. I get way more interaction because as an individual, I know what I can do and I know who I am, right? So if I'm, for example, going to play a game with JR, JR knows me, I know JR, JR knows what he's getting, I know what I'm getting, right? Because we know each other on an individual level,
Right.
and that's fine. And like I've played with Josh before, with JR as well, and I know Josh because I've seen Josh play, and I've spoken to Josh, so it's like whatever. But the minute that I'm like, oh, I have this friend, I don't know what that friend's going to do because that friend doesn't stream and doesn't understand stream etiquette and not push to
stream
talk.
etiquette.
Well, so learning stream etiquette is a huge thing because when I first started playing with people that were a little bit bigger in certain sections, you know, when you start playing with people that pulling 100+ viewers, you never know what they're going to do, especially your first time.
Yeah.
And that's a really
People
weird
get
thing to
excited.
figure out. Yeah, people are excited. You play with someone that maybe you've idolized for a while in a category, and they're like, hey, we're kind of having a whatever day. You show up in chat all the time. If you want, pop in. We got 4 people hanging out in the Discord, 3 of which don't stream.
On Overwatch.
Yeah. Hey, you hang out with people that all of a sudden, you know, you're like idolizing because you watch them every day. You're putting 3-4 hours just hanging out in the chat. You know, it's so weird to get used to. All of a sudden you're playing with someone like JR who deafens and mutes randomly because he's talking in the chat and he doesn't want to be talked over by everyone else. And it's such a weird thing to get used to, especially if you don't have another monitor to keep something like Discord up, like your communications are down. If he dies, he's deafened and muted, you know, especially if you're playing Tarkov. He's going to go into another raid. He's going to create his content in his own way. You'll never know when he's coming back because raids take up to 30 minutes, 45 minutes, depending on what you're doing. Like, it's very weird and very inconsistent to create content with other people if you're not used to how they play.
So one of the things, and since you guys are all mentioning it, and I think this is super important, and it actually took me a long time for me to get used to this, and I think it's the same way for Shane Live actually, is you have to become accustomed to creating content on your own before you can become comfortable with playing with somebody else. And one thing that I did in the beginning is a big mistake, was I constantly needed somebody else there. I couldn't play games without Shane. Shane and I played DayZ or something every single day. And granted, like, the mixture of personalities between Shane and I is fantastic. We always have a great stream, both of us. It's always fun to watch, right, when Shane and I play together. But I became so dependent on that there was a period of time, like, I wouldn't play unless I had somebody there. And that was such a big problem for me. Like,
it's such a weird thing to get out of that habit with, too. I started creating DayZ content the very same way. You know, I started stream, I was very inconsistent with it because if I didn't have the one person that I was doing with all the time, I felt like people wanted to see that mixture of personalities. It's something you have to get into. And like, you know, in a very same similarity to like Blue and Queenie, they're a couple, they live together, they stream together, their stream mixes very well. It would be very weird, and it is a very different stream if you just have one. And that was kind of something that I was looking to create when I first started and started playing DayZ. Is the homie and I were both streaming. We're both brand new to streaming, but like our mixture of personalities going back and forth and having that back and forth with looting, duo fights, you know, things were seemingly a bit more fun. Yeah. So it's very weird to break out of that habit and start going into streaming solo, especially in like team-based games. Like, if I play solo in Siege, it's such a pain in the ass.
That's why I said it's a problem.
I don't want to talk to my random
in the beginning. That's why I said it's a problem in the beginning, because like in the beginning, I just based everything I did on playing with somebody else. I never played solo, so like it's good like when you're in the early stages to just play alone for a while, mix in people. That's great for content to mix in people, just not do it all the time.
Well, that was my problem because you have no one in chat. If you're pulling 1 or 2 viewers the first day you stream, you're incredibly excited. I mean, depending on who you are. I mean, some people come into streaming like, why don't I have 300 people in here? You know, what the hell? You know, why has no one gifted me 100 subs today?
I just want to point
You
out
have
that
people with that very same
everyone's
mentality.
different, but I just want to say that to this day, it doesn't matter how if I have 2, 3, 100 people on day Z, I get excited when there's 20 people in here.
Oh, you should never care how many people are there.
But I'm saying,
it's
I'm
just
saying
exciting
like
to have one person talking.
I'm
chat.
excited when there's 20 people in here, let alone anything beyond that.
Yeah.
You know, I never
Right.
expected. Actually, in the beginning, one of my biggest flaws is that I expected this to be easy because I have a lot of
Of course it's
personality.
not.
I think that's
Everyone does it.
Everybody.
Everyone comes at this going, you know, 2-3 months down the line,
What's up,
I'll have
Jimmy?
30 people watching me. But it's never the case. You know,
No, it's
I'm
never.
going
You don't
on
realize how many
4+
people are
years
streaming.
now in streaming, and mine has never taken off. I don't get 30 followers a day, and I should never expect it. I don't care.
No.
If I grow 5 followers a week, I'd be happy.
Yeah.
You know, I don't care if a lot of people come at this in a different way, but when you decide to stream, you need to stream for your own reason. I want to play games. I want people to hang out and chat. I want people to have a good time. I don't care if there's 10 people in here, 200 people, 20,000 people in here. As long as
Still
everyone's
that,
getting
right,
along, everyone's having a good time, I'm going to be here regardless.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing, that it takes a lot of doing it and making the mistakes to figure out. Because, like, for me, when I first started, I got pretty lucky and had quite a big stint of growth because a lot of the people that I was in, like, the server I was playing were like big advocates of like supporting streamers and stuff, and like got a lot of traction from that, and that's great. But I think one lesson that I learned very quickly is there is a lot of other people like you. So if you're trying to do it for the wrong reasons, people will figure that out. and just go
People figure it
elsewhere.
out immediately. If you
Exactly.
come into a stream, there's that whole feel of this guy's doing it for growth. If you go into the IRL section, you know, not to call them out specifically, but that is the section of people are doing this for growth.
Yeah.
You know,
For-
that's where people have the problem with titty streamers.
It's very.
Whatever.
Oh god
Like,
damn! I'm gonna have to
it's
censor that.
obviously what it is.
Yeah, it's very obvious when a broadcaster is putting their
You feel
body
it
out there to you. I mean, it's just obvious. I personally feel that Twitch is not the place. I'm here to see gaming. I don't want to see you paint yourself to look. I don't. I mean, it's fine. You can call it art. That's fine. To me, that's not what it is, and I don't want to see that. I'm sorry. Like, you might be
Well,
attractive, you might be beautiful,
they
but there are
need
kids
to-
on the platform, and I don't want to. They shouldn't have access to your boobies. I'm sorry. I'm sorry,
Right.
but we're not gonna go into that because I don't want to offend anybody, and I really don't. But I
Well,
just don't want to
it's
see
not
that.
to offend anyone, but it is
That's-
very obvious when you look at
It's
that
very
section
obvious.
that people are
not to
there for views.
downplay
It's
the
why
importance.
IRL is there. You don't have people going around kayaking outside. People don't want to see you go walk around the forest. They don't care. There's a whole section related to doing things outdoors. There's a whole section related to painting. But you don't see the painting section at the top of Twitch. You see people in IRL playing games because Twitch doesn't care enough to go and make sure that they're banning people for
No.
streaming in the wrong section. There's no... it's a lawless land of Twitch there. And that's where you find
the
people that
forbidden
are
land.
It is. It is the
Yeah.
forbidden land. It's Reddit of Twitch. Like, it is
It
a
is.
shit show that people do whatever they want. It's lawless. Like, people don't get banned in IRL unless you're doing something beyond something you shouldn't be doing. Like, there needs to be a legitimate reason for you to get banned there.
There's a lot of
So-
stuff that doesn't
But
get
not
banned that gets thrown
necessarily.
by the
There's a
wayside.
lot of things that are against TOS that I feel like they just don't bother to go in there. They don't care enough to go in there. They'd be banning people consistently. They could put an entire team of Twitch people. They could put 30
wouldn't even
people on
need
there,
a team.
and you wouldn't even get close to banning half the people it need.
Speaking of banning, there's something I want to touch on, and it's not like against TOS or anything.
Right.
I'm sure you guys saw. There was a guy who accidentally discharged a firearm whilst live on stream. right?
Oh god,
That was a deserving ban, in my
That
opinion.
guy's a
Okay,
fucking
so-
idiot. Anyway,
So this
Sorry.
is the thing. I'm with you on that because
Oh,
a
that guy's a
lot of
fucking
people
idiot.
are like, "Oh, he doesn't deserve it. He doesn't deserve it." Blah blah. In my mind,
But he
right,
does.
But
He's
he
an
does
idiot.
because at the end of the day, on stream on a public platform,
Well, he was drunk, wasn't he? He
he's
was
drunk
drinking.
as well. He's
Yeah,
drunk as
there's
well.
no reason when
he's
you're
handling
drinking
a
to
firearm
handle your
whilst
firearm.
drunk, whilst live. And to him, that takes away the responsibility of owning a firearm. If
Like,
he's,
it doesn't matter
and there's
if you have
animals
5
walking
viewers.
around. There's animals walking around in the background. He's showing complete idiocy by doing it, and then people are like, "Why did you ban him?" So because he is showing, without realizing it, that these are the people who can, this is what can happen. And yeah, he got banned, and then Clean actually did a very good video on Twitter actually about the correct way to unload a firearm, right?
Well, Clean's content is very heavily based
On
Exactly.
around
firearms, yeah, he was the perfect person to do that.
He
but-
was one of the people who got Twitch to enable him to do that, so he could show people safely how to do the things. And you get people like that who completely
who
abuse
completely just ruined that. for
ruin
him.
it. Yeah,
Yeah,
Hey,
ruined
Twitch
it.
could have
All
put out a
work.
policy tomorrow that says, okay, no more guns allowed.
And you
on
know
stream.
what? And you know what?
And they
And
did for the longest time.
as
You
much
were not allowed to show
uproar-
guns on stream.
As much uproar as there would be for that, they would be absolutely 1000% justifiable in doing that after
Oh,
that
they'd be
incident.
completely
Absolutely.
because of
right.
people like that.
Absolutely. That one incident
Completely
could have
in the right for
nearly
that.
ruined it for everyone else. And we can
Well,
talk about all day about fucking firearms. I have them everywhere. You can't see
Yeah,
them,
I can go
but
in
there
the
is
other
no
room and grab one.
there's no reason for me to pull out my firearms. There's no reason for me to take this 12 gauge off the wall in front of me and show you. No one even knows it's there. I know it's there.
I didn't even know it was there. and I
No
don't
one
know.
knows
didn't
it's
know
there.
that.
No, I have a 12 gauge here, and I have other guns in this room that are in sight, but you can't see them, if that makes sense. But there's no reason for you to know that. And there's also an argument, too, that Running Man brought up on Twitter, actually, I completely agree with. Why would a broadcaster that's doing no firearm relations at all, who's drinking alcohol, pull out a pistol? For what?
Oh, why is it there?
Brother, why were you fucking acting like a
gotta
gangster?
flex.
You're a suburban white
You gotta
guy in a
flex.
suburban neighborhood. Like, you have no reason to act in the manner that you were acting, period. You made us all look like idiots. There's just no reason for it.
They can ban so many things on it. They could have put a policy yesterday that said no more drinking on stream. Clearly, you guys can't handle it. You know,
Right.
there's that adage of one guy ruins it for everyone. And as unfair as it seems, Twitch needs to be a platform for keeping everyone safe. You
Well,
can't
the-
have idiots drinking and discharging firearms on stream. Twice a year is completely inappropriate.
Yeah,
you can't have yourself
the
showing up
argument-
to work late.
Yeah,
You know, twice a month because you don't deserve your job at that point. You know, you are expected to have a level of, professionalism to
well, the
be
argument people had
the way you should be.
it was his full-time career. It was him streaming and all this stuff. And the way I look at it is, if you want to have streaming as a career, act accordingly. You don't turn
Yeah,
up
you
to
gotta-
work with a gun, drunk, and just accidentally fire it off, because you'd be arrested.
Right.
You know what I mean? This is the thing that people don't understand. Is it's all well and good being like, oh, he didn't deserve it. There could have been a child in the room through that wall.
You know
Yeah,
what?
I mean,
you
no
know
idea.
what too? And when he posted his apology video, one of the things that I picked up on immediately was that he had a cat that randomly roams around his bedroom, and it was actually on the same side where the round discharged, but it was beyond it. So imagine his little cat was right there, and that round goes off, and blood comes on the screen and hits him in the face. First off, you're gonna have. We're talking about lawsuits out the ass.
No, you're gonna have
Twitch-
a shitstorm.
Dude, it's gonna be absolutely insane. Twitch is gonna. Oh my. The guy's a fucking idiot. I'm sorry. He's an idiot. A fucking idiot. All right. Like, I don't have to pull out a. We shouldn't have to have Clean come on stream and show you how to discharge a firearm. If you own one, you should already know how to discharge that, and you should already know that you shouldn't be flaunting it around on stream, acting like a gangster when you're so far away from that. Period. You're an idiot. You acted like an idiot, and it showed. Apology
And
or
his
not.
reaction as well. His reaction to I feel like his reaction, like straight away after it discharged,
Ungenuine.
kind of
Oh, I
put
thought
it
you
into
meant, like,
perspective into
the
like.
Well, he very well showed what his knowledge on his own firearm
exactly?
was. Like, you
This-
can't rack the gun back, pull out one bullet, and not the mag,
and not be like.
not understand, like, okay, well, this thing feeds itself.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's clear.
Yeah,
Why
it's
is
not
he
fucking
even?
revolver,
Why is
is
he
it?
even?
Idiot.
Why is he even dry firing it? For what?
Well, so
Why?
we're first of all in a huge issue with guns in our own way in the U.S. alone, where people doing this on stream does not make for good publicity for anything. You know, there's such a huge issue with, like I said, guns in general.
Yep.
Like, people want to ban, people want more regulated, and like people like that guy make an ass out of everyone that owns a gun.
And you know what? And
That's
I guarantee
the guy
you,
that did it publicly.
I
was
guarantee
huge on
you
Twitter.
that clip is going to come up in arguments later on, or people that are against guns are going to bring that up and show
it up.
that. And people that are like don't want guns on Twitch, I guarantee you, are going to bring that clip. This is the reason
Oh,
why.
yeah, it doesn't-
And they
just
would
guns in
absolutely
general.
be justifiable in doing that, because this one person with thousands of viewers made himself look like a complete asshole and made us all look like an asshole because of that
Right.
shit. Whether we
Is that
directly
also-
handle
That
our
also
firearms or like it or
debadges the
not.
platform as well.
Oh,
Right.
absolutely.
Which look bad.
And it was very justifiable for them to ban him. And to be honest, I wouldn't I would have advocated for him to be banned for longer than 3 days. He's lucky he got 3 days.
I would have been okay with a permanent ban.
Was
Yeah,
only
I would have
3
been okay
days?
with it. It was only 3 day ban.
You
Wow.
made an ass out of yourself and
Wow.
everyone that owns a gun. You made an ass out of people that drink on stream and do it professionally and have fun. You know,
Yep.
when you start doing things like that, you just deserve to not be on the platform anymore. I don't care if you're Ninja and you're pulling 100,000 viewers a stream. It
No.
doesn't matter. When you start damaging a brand and you start doing things that can qualify for personal harm or any other reason that's in the terms of service for Twitch, you deserve to be banned permanently. I would be okay with all of that, but that's
if it wasn't
not a
if it
judgment
wasn't
call
for
for us to
people
make.
if it wasn't for people like Clean doing the right thing and educating people correctly as a response to it, and if he hadn't, I genuinely, because obviously he's put a lot of work into the platform to show that it is okay for that with responsibility, because there is a responsibility on
Well, he
your
was
hands then.
that huge
to-
advocate to show guns on stream.
Exactly, because he's educating people on the correct use of it, and to take one moron to make a stupid decision, you get a result like that. For example, the whole Dr. Disrespect toilet thing, Twitch could have quite easily turned around and been like, you know what? No IRL streams. It's not worth the risk because there's no way you can control what is going on. And they would have been right to do so. But people don't understand that they are a company that need to make business decisions for them. Now, if Amazon want to go to this company and have an endorsement for Twitch, and then in that business meeting, they pull up a video of a guy discharging a firearm on stream whilst drinking,
Yeah,
that's not a brand they want to get behind. That then directly affects the company. That's why they need to control it.
Absolutely.
And that's what people don't understand.
Okay, so we have gone way over where I wanted to stop, okay? We needed to stop a long time ago. So what we're going to do, actually, because I wanted to talk about one more thing, but we're not going to do it during this segment. So for episode 8 is going to come to conclusion right here. We've talked about a lot of stuff today. It was supposed to be kind of a shooting the breeze, but we kind of trailed into topics and political Twitch stuff. So it was a really good conversation there. We're not ending the stream, so if you guys are here, still hang with us. We're going to do a bonus segment here, but I'm going to call episode 8 to an end right here. Okay, so if you guys want to find us outside of the podcast, you can find me at twitch.tv/DudeiRage right here, twitter.com/DudeiRage. You can find Mr. Hidden Shadows at twitter.com/Hidden Shadows, right? No underscore?
It's like twitch.tv_hidden. I don't know. I'll
Do twitch.tv/Hidden Shadows, and then we'll do his Twitter link in the description of the YouTube video. Jay Briswa at Instagram.com. That will be there. Make sure you guys check that out. And then we got Mr. N3TSY at twitter.com/ and then twitch.tv/N3TSY. Make sure you guys shoot all these guys a follow. They're all fantastic. They're good friends of mine. I love them to death. And we will see you guys for episode 9, or we'll see you in the bonus footage. Thank you for listening or watching. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Peace out.
Late.